Good morning. Today we are working on math packet number 3 for math 6. So math packet number 3. The first page says the area of Michael's bedroom is 108 square feet. Its length is 3 feet longer than its width. We know that the area of a rectangle equals the length times the width. And we know that his bedroom, we have the length is 3 feet longer than the width. So we have that width, the length equals the width plus 3 more feet. So whatever number we come up with for the width, it's going to be 3 more for the length. So we need to think that length times the width is 108 square feet. So feet squared. So what two numbers, the length times the width, equals 108, but it has to be 3 apart. So when I see 108, I know that that is close to 10 times 10, which is 100. So I know my numbers are going to be close to the 10 and 10, but they have to be 3 away from each other because my length is that width plus 3. So I'm going to go around that 10 and 10, but make sure they're 3 apart. So maybe I would do 10 times 7, because that's 3 apart, but that's only 70. That is too small. So I'm going to go bigger. Try 11 times 8. That is 88. So I'm going in the right track. So to solve this, you're just going to do a little guess and checking and see if you can find the numbers that are 3 apart, where if we multiply them together, you get 108 for your answer. So I'm going to let you continue that one on your own. Let's look at our next page. Eli, Marty, Jim, and Ann each own one of the following pets: a hamster, fish, dog, or cat. So for this one, you're going to want to make your chart with Eli, Marty, Jim, Ann, and we have the hamster, fish, dog, and cat. And we're going to make our chart and work through who could have which pet. There is 1 pet per person. So Eli and Ann are allergic to cats, so they do not have cats. So Eli does not have a cat, and Ann does not have a cat. Neither Eli nor Jim has a fish, so Eli does not have a fish, and Jim does not have a fish. Marty has a hamster. So now if Marty has a hamster, no one else can have a hamster because Marty has the hamster and it's only 1 animal per person and each animal is used once. So I'm going to do process of elimination to continue on to see if I can see what pet Eli has, and then cross off who else can't have that pet and narrow it down for who has which pets. Then you're going to come over to the side and you're going to say that Eli has this pet, Marty has this pet, Jim has this pet, and Ann has this pet. Knowing that there's only going to be 1 animal for each person and each animal is only used once. So finish filling in the chart, figuring out who has which pets. Our next page is that 5-card challenge. So you know how to work through that 5-card challenge. Keep in mind that our ace only has 1 diamond on it, so it is a 1. So when you use the ace, it is a 1. All of your cards, whatever equations you come up with, need to equal 5. You can use each card only 1 time per equation. The next page is our pattern page. So Math 6 needs to complete the table for the total blocks, for the number of total blocks in each figure. So we only need to do this. So if we look at figure 1, there is 1 block. Figure 2 has 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. Figure 3 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 blocks. And figure 4 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 blocks. So there are 2 different ways that you can finish our total blocks. First way is, well, let's look at how we are increasing each time. To go from 1 to 4, we added 3. To go from 4 to 9, we're adding 5. To go from 9 to 16, we're adding 7. So keep that pattern going. What are we going to add to the 16? 3, 5, 7, 9 comes next in our pattern. So 16 plus 9 is 25. Another way we can look at this, some of us are starting to understand about our perfect squares. Remember, when we square a number, we're multiplying it by itself. So 1 squared is 1 times 1 is 1. 2 squared is 2 times 2, which is 4. 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9. 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is 16. 5 squared is 5 times 5, which is 25. So you can follow either pattern. One would be adding that next odd number and adding it to the previous number to get what your next total is, or you can follow those perfect squares all the way down. So all you have to do on this page is complete that total blocks column. Next page, we have to draw a net of our triangular prism. So we're drawing a net of the triangular prism. So that means we're cutting open that prism and we're laying it flat. So I know that there are 1, 2, 3 sides to my triangular prism, those 3 rectangles, and then there's each end as a triangle. So that's my net, is laying it out flat. Now I need to label each side. So the length of each rectangle is 14 inches. So each of these long lines I know are all 14 inches. And then I can see we have 5 inches for each end. So each end is 5 inches. And I can see the sides of my triangle are also 5 inches, because when I fold up this side to this side, they need to be the same height. So those are both 5 inches. And then I know my height to my triangle is that 4.3. Now that height to the triangle is going to be important for when we find its area, because next I need to find the figure's surface area. To find the surface area, we need to remember the area of a rectangle equals the length times the width. So if I look at my rectangles, I have my length and my width. So I need to do the math of 14 times 5, and that's what I'm going to put for each rectangle's area. Then I need my area of a triangle, which is 1/2 of the base times the height. So I want 1/2 of my base, which is 5, times my height, which is 4.3. So I can use my calculator and I can say 5 times 4.3 divided by 2. That area I'm going to put for each of my triangles, and then I'm going to add up all 5 areas of my shapes to get my total surface area. So look at your area of your triangles, and then find the area, the area of the rectangles, and then find the area of the triangles, add all 5 up for your surface area. Because we are multiplying 2 measurements together, our answer will be in inches squared. For our next page, we are still working with that same shape. Let me get this all erased. So we're working with our same shape, that triangular prism. And this time we need to find the volume. So you need to write the formula for the volume of a rectangular prism, which is 1/2 base times the height, which is how we find the area of the triangle. But because it's a prism, we are also adding in our length. So it's 1/2 times our base times our height times our length. So for the calculation, we're going to put in our numbers. So we have 1/2 times our base, which is 5, times our height, which is 4.3, times our length, which is 14. So you need to use your calculator and multiply those 4 numbers together. So multiply 1/2, which is 0.5, times 5, times 4.3, times 14, and that answer you are going to put right here. That is the volume. So you have to do the math, actually multiply it out, multiply by 1/2 or divide by 2, it's the same thing. And our answer, because we multiplied 3 measurements together, our answer will be inches cubed. Then for math 6, it says, what is the sum of the lengths of the figure's edges? So note, the height of our triangle is not an edge. So we don't need 4.3 because that's in the middle of the triangle. So you need to add all 3 of the triangle sides. Then you're going to add each length of the rectangle. So add all of those sides up and put your answer down here. So remember, you don't need the height because that is not on the outside of our triangle. Our next page is finding the perimeter and the area of our figure. So to find that perimeter, you need to fill in our missing measurements. So we know if this side is 3, this side is going to be 3. We know if this side is 2, this side is 2. Then we have 2 empties here. We know there's 3 inches there, and there's equal amounts on both sides, so it would be 3 and 3. Add all of those numbers up for our perimeter. Then to find our area, you can break it into 2 rectangles, actually a square and a rectangle. Remember, the area of that rectangle is length times width. So you're going to want to do length times the width, and then length times that width, and add the 2 up. For our perimeter, we were just adding, so it's just inches. For the area, we're multiplying 2 measurements together, so it's inches squared. The next page is our last page. We have a graph of Channel 1 News viewing figures. We have the months of the year, and we have millions of viewers per day. So which time slot was most affected by the introduction of the 11 p.m. news? 11 p.m. is green. It was introduced in May. And when people started watching that 11 o'clock news, what did they stop watching? So which one is affected the most? Which one dips down when the green climbs up? And which one isn't affected at all? So I should see 2 numbers here. one for the most affected and one for the least affected. Which one kind of stays the same whether or not there was the 11 o'clock news. So you're just gonna write which time period was most affected and which time period was least affected. And that's all we have to do for that page, just reading that graph, figuring out how they were affected. And that is it for Math Packet 3. If you still have questions, come and see me. Have a wonderful day.